The Pfaff Ambition 620 has two mending stitches, stitch number 31 and stitch number 32. I want to show you how to do these and what the difference is. So when you pick stitch number 31, it does have you put on foot 2A, and remember that is when you need to remove the IDT, which is shown that it's not engaged here. If this information is not on your screen, touch the I so it does appear. You'll also notice a reverse symbol on screen, so you'll see me utilize this when we've created the length of mending stitch we want the machine to stitch. So if you've got an opening that you need to repair, you need to put something underneath it. So another piece of fabric, some interfacing, some stabilizer, something. So when you start, if the rip is here, it's going to start in the upper left corner, and you might kind of guide it to be a little bit further back than where your rip actually starts. And once you start to stitch, the machine is actually counting how many stitches forward it has gone. Let's say our opening is about like so. So stitch until you've stitched past the opening and then touch the reverse button one time. You'll notice that the reverse button actually disappears off the screen and then just sew until it stops. So what it's going to do is it's going to do a stitch at each one of those needle positions, back and forth, all the way from the left to the right. Now, if you don't have a huge rip, you could stop at any time. But let's just see how wide this actually stitches and what it does at the end. So it's just going to stitch until it gets all the way to the far right. It will lock. Now let's say your rip or opening was bigger side to side. No problem, bring your needle up or cut your thread, position it so the next row of stitching would go back over a little bit overlapped of what you've done so far, and then you can keep building out those stitches. If you had matched that thread, it would have looked just like fabric when the thread and fabric match. Now I mentioned there's actually two styles of this stitch. So let's pick stitch number 32. It is going to do more of an underlay stitching, which means that if you had something that had a lot of frayed out edges, this would be a perfect one to use. So what it's going to do is it's stitching back and forth down like a little crisscross grid first. And then when you get it again long enough, touch the reverse button. And then you'll see they'll actually go back and forth and cover up that gridded area. Again, let it stitch all the way through. It'll stop when it's done. You can use the start stop button, really easy. And then cut your threads and it's done. So it's a little bit more reinforced mending stitch because you do have the stitches underneath it that go right to left. But both of these are wonderful. Try them out so you know what you have on this machine. And once again, you don't have to tell anybody that your machine mends. Let that be your superpower that you can just whip out whenever you need it.